Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you at. This is, I can't even say it. It's complicated. Just call me Kay. Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna say I had a run today. For me, it was a run. I ran the day before, but most likely it was mostly walk, some run in the beginning, and then kind of start, run, walk, and then walk most of the way, at least most of the way back. I ran a faster 5K than I did yesterday. But yeah, today, I just give you the exact day. Today is August the 8th. And I will say that, what's the temperature right now? Excuse me. Let me see. It's 82 degrees right now. So it's warm, but the 82 degrees is not really, I will say it's the humidity. It's the humidity. Mind you, I'm not really used to humidity like I was before. When I was in the military, most of my military career, out of 6 years of being in the military, I would say almost 3 of those years. Oh, I used to get no ants. Oh Lord, I'm like, I'm back. Shit. I'm like, I sat in a different tree. I guess little ants. I just felt something crawl on me. And I'm like, and at first I'm like, it's not sweat. It don't feel like sweat. And I'm like, oh my God, it's probably an ant. I should have checked before, I'm making sure, shaking everything off. I'm like, I don't feel no bites. Hopefully don't feel none later. Oh my God. I'm gonna sit somewhere that's more safe. Golly. I'm looking on my shoes. I know I can't deal with no ants right now. Like, no. Twin, where have you been? That song been in my head. Let me take my shoes off just in case. Okay, I'm back. Oh my goodness. Thank God I wasn't sitting too close to the tree. It was just like one ant I saw on me, and I think I felt one. Maybe it was sweat, but that sweat probably, caused me to look around, and see if ants were crawling on me. But yeah, I don't feel no bite or anything like that, and I checked my shoes, and I don't have any ants or anything on that. Oh my God. But anyways, I just completed like a little 5K run with some walk. I'm trying to get back in the shape that I was in. And I was looking over my previous times, especially like 2022, early 2023. And it seemed that I was running under 40 minutes. Okay, I'm back. But anyways, yeah, I said I need to get right back in shape. It's humid. Like I was saying previously, I'm not really used to running in humidity. I'm used to running in dry, arid climate now. I started running when I was in the military, and I was in my early 20s. And I would have to say that I started in South Carolina, went to North Carolina, and then I went to Arizona, spent almost 3 years there, and then went to Tennessee/Kentucky. And then from there on, I would say from there on, I was a couch potato. I really didn't exercise. I tried to when I was in the military, but when I got the military, but it wasn't happening, and I gained a lot of weight. So moved back to Arizona, and sorry, I'm just sweating and it's just uncomfortable. Went back to Arizona, started running, and then moved here, and it's arid. I'm not used to it. I don't even remember since 2020, after I moved here. I don't remember it being so humid. And I ran during this time. I'm like, it is hella humid. And then another thing, the sun is not the same sun. I mean, the sun here is different from, I would say, the places that I mentioned. But here because I know it's a higher altitude, I think it's around, I don't know, I'm going to say at least 15,000, give or take, altitude. But this summer, I'm just all paranoid. I'm like, I want to make sure no ant got on me. But anyways, it seemed like the sun is like, what's the best way to explain it? It feels like it's a million miles closer. I don't know than what it is. I mean, I'm old school. The new school kids might know, or the young adults, on the Mario game, like they have that portion of the game where the sun is chasing you. That's how I feel in the summer. The sun, especially now, the humidity in the sun is chasing me, and I'm just like, oh my God! It seems like it's closer now. It's like, oh, but this breeze feels so good. Oh my God! Yes, breeze. The breeze feels good. But anyways, for some reason, I kind of use my run as a meditation. I listen to podcasts, and I listen, just kind of different positive things, on YouTube. I really don't listen to music like I used to, anymore. So it kind of helps me to meditate a little bit more, just think. I think meditating is really kind of just thinking. And when you really think about it, that's part of thinking. Not the worrisome thinking, but just, you receive, like in the spiritual community, we say downloads and things of that nature. And what's so funny, I watched, I'll get to my point, which is so funny, but I listen to a podcast, and I guess this lady, the YouTuber, read a letter from a writer to one of her viewers, and it sounded like the letter writer was a person that was in a rut, kind of like me. And I was living in Arizona. I was kind of like in a rut. Even before Arizona, I was in a rut. But excuse me, I'm like, I guess I should have got some chapstick. But she sounded like she was kind of like in a rut, and she wasn't living the life that she wanted to live. And then it seemed like after that video, another video similar but from the same YouTuber about manifesting. And then after that, I'm like, what is going on? And and it kind of inspired me to talk about high frequency and manifesting goes hand in hand. And I thought about today. I'm like, today is August the 8th. And I just learned this, in the spiritual community. I might have to find more information about it, but it's a special day today. It's like the Lionsgate portal once a year. It's the day where you can just, I guess, speak it out, that whatever you want, it's, it'll be easier to manifest it, or it's the best time to say it because it'll be manifested, But I want to mention this because I feel like, how should I start? I would say as a kid, like I didn't go to church until I was around 12, I think, or 13. I was in middle school basically. And I would say after when I started going to church, it wasn't the greatest time in my life, to be honest. I feel like when I think of that time of my life, it was one of my most, besides being married to my ex, I would say that was like the second worst time in my life, darkest time in my life. It seemed like I became depressed, and I became very anxious. And before then, I was like the happy-go-lucky kid. You know, I was introverted, but I still was able to make friends and things of that nature. And ride my bikes, no worries. School, I'm not gonna say I was popular, but I was really well known. You know, I was the girl that seemed happy. You know, everybody know me as a smart girl. So if I'm finished with my assignments or whatever in class, I was able to go into another class, you know, and help other students. I mean, it was just like, you know, and it was just crazy. Then after going to church, I feel like we had to move because it seemed like we weren't, I'm not sure totally of parents' financial situation, but I will say my mom, I'm just gonna give you a little background. My mom, along with my siblings and I, we picked up our bags, moved from East Texas to Fort Worth, Texas. And you know, we lived in the projects. I had ate the syrup sandwiches and lived on back in the days we had the block cheese, the government cheese and all that. And you know, we didn't have like the EBT card. We had like the food stamps that kind of reminded me of the Monopoly dollars, you know. That's how it was. And then my watch is dying. And then it seemed like my mom met my stepdad, and after living in the projects probably for not very long, probably 2, maybe 3 years, I don't remember exactly. I mean, I was a kid. And my stepdad had a really good job as a truck driver, getting paid well to ride trucks within the city. You know, city, maybe a little bit outside the city every now and then, very rarely out of town, out of state. So we, you know, we were doing pretty good. We moved into a house it wasn't in the hood, but it was like a lower middle class type of neighborhood. And then after that, we moved into the suburbs. You know, I guess middle class, not really typical upper middle class, but not lower middle class. And life was great. We had the little conversion van, truck, whatever, you know, during that time. But it seemed like after we started going to church, I'm not sure if they gave a lot of their money as far as in tithes and things of that nature. It seemed like, and next thing you know, all of a sudden, we moved from the suburbs to literally rented a house in the ghetto. And it seemed like it'd been that way since. And it's really sad. And then, of course, we moved into the suburbs, but by then I was in college, so I really never, you know, really experienced the suburb life again, except for a very short period of time, you know, when I stayed with my parents for a little bit before, I guess after I graduated school, if I remember, because I feel like a lot of that portion of my time was, I'm trying to think. I know we stayed in the hood still, you know, even if we did move, we was in the hood. And I graduated high school, you know, of course, stay home during the summertime. And then I know during that summertime, I think that's when we moved back to the, I'm all paranoid now. I'm like, we moved back to the suburb. And then for a short period of time, but then it wasn't the same as the other suburbs, you know. And then, you know, and I just moved back, and I moved to dorms. I couldn't stay with my parents. And then they ended up divorcing, and then my mom, and honestly, when they divorced, I wasn't surprised, because I'm like, I can tell y'all miserable. It seemed like y'all are so miserable. My mom was like at my dad all the time, arguing. I mean, it's like you be in church, having the Holy Ghost, hallelujah, 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 praise thee the Lord. And then soon after you get out of church, go to the parking lot, go in the car, I'm already hearing the argument. And then arguing at me. I mean, you know, I always felt that anxiety. It was like the second most darkest time of my life. But despite all that, I knew it was something much more greater than this, you know, at the time. That's what I was saying at the time. And fast forward, you know, I kind of still was in the church, but I kind of left that denomination I was in. I was in Kojic, went to Baptist, but I still feel like I wasn't getting the answers that I wanted as far as, is there really a higher power and things like that. But I will say one thing, I kind of kept going to church because I didn't know nothing else. And then I guess the start of really kind of pulling away some, but not really truly believing in what was taught, was when I was in college and I was taking a physics course. And when it was in physics, the teacher, we was learning about energy, and they like, energy never dies, energy is converted and things of that nature. I will say that's probably one of the only things I remember in that physics class. And it kind of struck me. It seemed like it was meant for me to be in that class, because after I heard that, I started thinking about what I learned growing up in church. I'm like, if energy never dies, so that means I don't think people go straight to heaven, because to me, when I think of that, it means energy is gone. Our energy is gone. So I always thought and pondered that, and I think that's one of the things that kind of put a lot of doubt in, you know, in religion. Fast forward, I just kind of started thinking, I would say in my maybe mid 30s to late 30s, I'm like, I'm not really going to take church very seriously. But one thing that I'm going to take seriously is the practices of Jesus, which is really Yeshua. What's in the Bible is pretty much the people who wrote the Bible knew about Yeshua, changed his name to Jesus, and basically put that character in the Bible. And, you know, and basically, if you're offended I'm gonna just say this, if you're offended, I'm sorry, it's just my belief. You can let it fly, but I really wish you would just kind of look into it, to be honest. But I always wonder in the Bible, why in the world did it's like, he's a baby, he was born, and then I guess as a teen or preteen, we realized how smart he was, and then we didn't hear nothing else about him until 33 years later, which is angel number in spirituality, and it's also a master number, you know, in numerology. So it's like, why in the world this whole life was skipped? Because my opinion, it wasn't related to what the elite, the powers that be, wanted to touch on in the Bible, you know, because he really, it will go against the agenda. And so basically Yeshua practiced spirituality, basically. And I feel like, in a sense, he's my spirit guide. I feel that way. I don't know, because no matter what I believed, I felt like I was able to call on his name, whether it was Jesus at the time, now it's Yeshua. And I just kind of, you know, I need some guidance. I need some help in a certain situation or whatever. But back to my point, as far as frequency, I would say part of my spiritual journey began when I realized that, you know what, I'm not going to really believe in a lot of things I'm not really going to believe in what was in the Old Testament or pretty much the whole Bible, but I'm going to believe and practice the one thing that I know in the Bible, at the time when I still was sort of a Christian, was the practices of Yeshua, quote unquote Jesus. So one thing he said in the Bible was love your friends, treat people with kindness, things of that nature. So that's what I did. I mean, I didn't go walking around like I was walked on like a carpet. I mean, there are such things as boundaries, but at the same time, I felt like my love and compassion grew for people. And then I thought that I forgave my mom as far as how she kind of treated me or whatever, because I dealt with a lot of mental and emotional abuse, and I would say physical abuse too. So, because I felt like I was treated like an outcast, in my own family. And I can go into more of that, but it's not the part of the topic. But anyways, I was able to forgive my mom like totally once I learned about compassion, once I learned, more about love and things of that nature. And I felt like that's one of the things that kind of set off my spiritual journey. So fast forward, now I'm gonna get more into manifestation and frequency. I noticed from that day forward that once I had more compassion for myself, started learning boundaries, and because I didn't have no boundaries, and I feel like that's, if you don't have boundaries for yourself, you might as well really say you really don't love yourself. You cosplaying love, but if you're saying yes to everybody, I didn't know it. A counselor told me about this, but the concept was so above my head, I was just like, I didn't get it. But now, because I practice self-love and things of that nature, and of course boundaries have to be in that, I was like, to me, the way I understand it is, if I really truly want to say no to something that someone asks me, whether it's a task or going out or whatever, and I say, that I feel like saying no, but then I go and say yes, to me, that's not really an act of love, because I'm really not showing that person love. It's just like an act of servitude, in a sense. I'm just being this person's servitude. And when I look at it from my point of view, I don't want nobody, as their friend, I don't want somebody to act in servitude to me in the name of friendship. That's not, to me, love and friendship, true love and friendship. That's just servitude. That's just slavery. But with that no, it's not like you forever say no to that person. You can still like, hey, I might not be able to do it today, or I may not be able to go out today or tomorrow, but I would like to, maybe find a better time. I'm busy or something. And if that's a true friend or a real family member that shows love, then they will understand it. Okay, I get it, Everybody have those moments. So I didn't understand that concept at first because it wasn't taught. It wasn't taught in religion when I was going to church. It wasn't taught in my family. Boundaries it wasn't no such thing as boundaries. And, so I learned that. And then I felt like I was able to better take care of myself. And then when I did do something for somebody, it was from my whole heart. It wasn't out of servitude. So, and then I'll say during this time when I realized I'm just going to live off of love, concept of love and compassion and things, I felt like my frequency, my vibration increased. And once I became more of a high vibrational human being, I felt a lot of the blessings. It's like God, the universe, was looking after me. I truly felt that. And I also, a most important component in being a highly energetic and a highly vibrational person, you have to have gratitude along with that love and compassion. And my gratitude increased in life. At first it was comparing myself and also looking at what I have and not really being happy with it. But I felt like my biggest practice of gratitude was when I was living in my last apartment before getting my home. I was like, yes, I was happy for it. I was like, I'm thankful. I'm not going to complain about it. Yeah, the AC kind of went out during the summer. I had different other issues, but I kept being more mindful about gratitude. I'm like, I'm grateful for having this apartment. I got a roof over my head. It's not very expensive. I'm very happy about this, you know, situation. I could be out in the streets. The lights could be out, you know, this, that, and the other, but I'm really happy I have this apartment and have good, decent memories, you know, living here. But, you know, then later on, I was like, okay, I'm ready for a house. So instead of saying I need a house, I'm like, I'm gonna get a house. I'm ready for a house. I'm ready for a house. And this kind of house that I kind of wanted. But, you know, later on, like I explained before in my previous videos, I did get a house. But I felt like Spirit, the universe, not just gave me the house that I wanted. I put that what I really wanted, without really knowing that I really wanted this type of house. It also kind of helped me be mindful of what type of house that I needed, you know, because even during the housing, looking for a house, I was like, I want a big yard, I want this and that. But I really wasn't thinking about, okay, I have a business and I'm not gonna have a lot of time to tend the yard. I'm not gonna have a lot of time to, you know, do a lot of that type of work. And then on top of that, even if I did it and hire somebody, it's gonna cost, you know, gonna be an extra cost out of my budget that I could use towards my business. So I was blessed with a townhome, and mind you, a townhome was like last, or probably wasn't even on the list. But the way it was built, I felt like it's a home. It's not a townhome at all. I don't hear neighbors or anything like that. It seemed like really insulated, really quiet. It doesn't look real. You can tell it's a townhome, but the way it's built, it don't really feel like a townhome. It feels like a house. So I feel like universe, I guess what I'm trying to say is, when my frequency started to increase, I felt like the things that I desired started to increase. And then during that time, you know, besides showing love and compassion, I started creating healthy boundaries. I started being more charitable, meaning that, you know, I was volunteering and things like that for a short period of time. And then I was more understanding of the spiritual world, that we are not, we in the spiritual war, you know, as far as, you know, this earth, and we're in the age of Aquarius. So things are kind of unsteady, I put it that way, for a new and better earth. That's what I believe. So, and I would say, even growing up, I feel like, even though I wasn't like, I feel like I felt something, but I'm not trying to make this message very long. It seems like it's getting longer than I expected it. But I felt like, even as a young person, I felt like the universe was looking out for me, because, you know, I'm not trying to brag about myself or anything. I felt like I was different. I never really belonged, never really followed the crowd, things of that nature. And you know, and then on top of that, when I had my mind set on something, it's like the universe is like, I hear you. I had my mind set on college. I went to college. It was even one part of college where I was kind of concerned about paying for college my freshman year. And it seemed like one thing led to another, and I ended up getting a full scholarship, you know, pay for my freshman year of college and things of that. I keep saying things of that nature, maybe because I am in nature. But, and of course, it was up to me to maintain it. I maintained it for a short period of time, you know, but I guess because of ADHD and all this other stuff, and not unsure of what to do, not really being sure of what I wanted to do as far as after I graduated, you know, I kind of lost that scholarship. But it did teach me something, that whenever I'm in need of something, the universe will provide. and you have to be in that frequency, you know. And I would say the frequency of jealousy and envy and all that, it's just gonna keep you in a lower vibration, you know, because you're looking more outwardly, wishing and hoping that you have something that somebody else have, and then because you don't have what they have, whoever that is, you're not happy with yourself, and you're not happy with them. You know, that's why, of course, you're jealous and envious. And honestly, I try to stay away from jealous and envious people, because to me, they dangerous. They are really dangerous. And when you hear past stories about, you know, Shanquella Robinson and then there was one lady, I forgot, she was living in California, if I'm not mistaken. She hung out with a group of friends, so-called friends. I think they had like a little pajama party or whatever, and next thing you know, she's dead. And it seemed like the friends just seemed like they was covering it up or whatever. I'm not sure the whole story. I mean, you can add it into my comments if you want to. But I would say, to end this, I would say today forward. We can't live in the past. So I would say, especially today, moving forward into the future, this is a great time to start increasing your frequency. Start increasing your vibration. Look within yourself. Being more loving, being more, even to your kids. I know sometimes people be hard on kids, including me. I made that mistake. Still sometimes make that mistake. Being hard on your kids, you know, this, that, and the other. But sometimes you have to show compassion to your kids. You know, maybe they didn't make that A or make that B for the semester, and it may not be because they were playing too much or whatever. Maybe they were going through something. That's compassion, showing love, and also being in gratitude for what you have, even if it's that crazy job that you don't like. Being in gratitude, because at the end of the day, the universe will provide something better. It may not even be meant for you to work on a job, you know. So that's where I'm at. And some days, you know, I'm still practicing. Some days I have to catch myself, you know, especially this past few months. I mean, I feel like I was kind of tested in a sense. I'm like, man, you know, but I had to kind of really go back into gratitude mode, being positive, being, you know, just, yeah, life goes on and things of that nature, but it's just what they say, a wrinkle in time. So even if you have to write down affirmations on a sticky note and put them on your mirror in your restroom, so as soon as you go to the restroom, you automatically reading them, because that will change your subconscious, and before you know it, your mindset has changed, and it's aligning with your desires in a sense. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop from there. I'm gonna go ahead and stop now, because I don't want this video to be too long. And if you really enjoy my comment, if you really enjoy my content, I'm just tired because I just did that run. Please, you know, subscribe, like, comment, share on my channel, and I will speak to you then.